In this session, we are going to see an introduction to Quantopian. Quantopian is a website, as we are seeing it here, quantopian.com, which is going to allow us to simulate free how our systems, our strategies would perform. So the reason why I'm including this in this course is that these strategies are going to be coded in Python. Although the main code of this site is already built, we can use our Python knowledge for building the strategies we want to test in it. So first we have to do is sign up, and once we have signed up, just log in. Here we have a community with different comments about different strategies, and we can go to algorithms to see a very simple algorithm just to show how it works. So we can call it hello world, and it's very simple. We can see in the left side only two different functions. The first one is where we are going to enter the data we want to take into account in the second one, and in the second one what we are going to do is to build the logic we want to apply, taking into account the data we used in the initialize function. Basically, here in the right we are going to define the dates, the from date from which we are going to test it, and the to date, the quantity with which we are going to start. This is going to be cash until we start making orders, and in this case that we are placing an order, and this is going to be how this code is going to be run. It's going to be daily. So daily, each day, the system is going to go through our code and is going to perform all the operations we put in here. In this case, for this example, we are just placing an order of this security. This is the Apple stock. And for this quantity, 50 shares of Apple are going to be bought every time at the market price, every day, from this date to this date. So this is going to be discounted from the cash. So we are going to have a portfolio. Each day is going to be 50 shares bigger, only with Apple in it. So we can run it. And when we run it, we are going to see the returns of our algorithms, the cumulative returns, comparing it to the benchmark returns. What would have happened if we have invested the $1 million in the Standard & Poor's index, in this case in the ETF Standard & Poor's SPY. So here we can see the weekly returns and the transactions. In this case we are buying 50 shares each day, but as the value is increasing, each time is going to be quantities are going to be larger. So here we see it has already finished, and we see that our algorithm is going to be better than the benchmark, better than the Standard & Poor's during these years. Then it went worse, and then finally it was much better. In this case, we got a return of 228% against 66%, 76% of the benchmark, our Standard & Poor's index. Here we have different measures, different ratios. We have the alpha, that is how much our algorithm was better than the benchmark. The beta, how different has it performed than our benchmark, in this case also the Standard & Poor's. The Sharpe, that is the comparison of our profitability against the risk-free profitability divided by volatility. This is a measure of how much profitability are we getting from each, depending on the volatility we are supporting. Sortino is just the same, but with what is called good volatility, so it only takes into account the volatility that is negative. Information ratio, where we compare our rentability to our benchmark ratio, our benchmark returns, and we divide also by our volatility. The volatility, that is the standard deviation of our returns, is very important because it gives us a measure of the risk we are incurring. And the maximum drawdown, that is the maximum loss we can have from one of the higher cumulative returns we have to the lower. In this case, we would have lost 60% if we enter in the worst moment of this algorithm. Here we can see more information as the transaction details. We are buying, you see, each day we are buying 50 shares of Apple that at the value that it has at each moment is going to give us an order of these quantities. Daily positions, here we have the first, when we start, $1 million in cash, $1 million in cash. And once we start buying, we are splitting it between our Apple portfolio, our Apple shares, and our cash, until the point that we can even measure what it will happen if we go with leverage, just spending more than we have in cash, so we are using some debt for our strategy. We could create a log if we want, just using some of the functions offered by Quantopian, and we are going to have different other metrics as the returns, benchmark returns to compare them, treasury returns also to compare it to the treasury, alpha in the different months, to 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months, beta, Sharpe, Sortino, information ratio, volatility, our benchmark volatility, and maximum drawdown. So this is just an introduction to what we can see or what we can do with Quantopian. Of course, if we come back to the algorithm, here we can build algorithms so complex as we can imagine.